Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome. Today, part of our Everyday Divinity call, we are having a guest speaker, and the lovely Josette LeBlanc is with me. And I have known you for a few years now, like 2 or 3, probably 3 years.
3, I think. Yeah, 2020, the beginning of 2020. Yeah.
So we actually did DNA activation training. We got trained and certified through the Woo Collective, and that's kind of how we met. And we've just stayed in contact. And I am so honored to have you here with me in this group. And so before we start talking a little bit about you, just a little bit of context for this month and this call is in Everyday Divinity, we work with different goddesses, we work with different archetypal energies, and this month we are working with Mother Mary. And so she's really closely related, of course, to the Sacred Heart, the Immaculate Heart. But what most people don't maybe know is that she really had that deep prayer for helping release the suffering of humanity. And so with that is huge karmic clearing. And of course, she couldn't do it alone. And so as she put that prayer out, that is where her soul family tribe came in, and Yeshua, or Jesus, was of course part of that. And so through her own oracular priestess training, through her lineages of training, and through all the priestesses that she worked with, she was able to tap into those beautiful womb codes, those codes of light for the Immaculate Conception, which has been known throughout the world. And so we're really working with the karmic clearing. We're working with activating our heart fields. We're working with the Merkaba this month. And so I'm super excited that you're here, because I know that you are tuned in with the Akashic Records, and that you are also doing this work too on such a quantum level. So let's get started. And first, let me know who you are, where you're from, and what it is that you do.
Okay, wow, I just got super chills listening to you. Okay, so my name is Josette LeBlanc, and I'm from Nova Scotia, Canada. Athena said there's a few Canadians in this group, so hello to all, but especially the Canadians. I live in South Korea. I've been here for about 16 years. I've lost count. Came here, well, I'm a Sagittarius rising, so that makes a lot of sense why I've decided to completely move. Also a starseed. But yeah, I live in South Korea, have a kid, married. And what do? I am an energy worker, and I bounce around the name consultant, coach, mentor, because really my mission here is to amplify the soul voice of women who want to put out their soul work in the world. I really, really feel so deep in my heart that that's what I'm meant to do. And, that might sound ambiguous, but I do that through energy work, as Athena said, Akashic Records, DNA activation, but also my special skill set is I have a teaching degree, teaching background. So I love just like the intricacies of how can we actually take your essence of what you do and what you love and make it accessible to the world. Like, I just love that. And then I also forgot to say that I have a new podcast called Josette Soul Salon. So I'm a podcast host too. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And I also got goosebumps when you were talking about the awakening and the activation of the throat. And the word soul strategist came into my mind when you were talking. So
yeah,
I'm going to coin you as the soul strategist today.
Yeah. Well, I used to see, this is the thing with labeling, like, what do you do? It's like in this world of the unseen, right? It's like, I have called myself a soul strategist. And I think for me, the blending of divine feminine and divine masculine has really come to a beautiful place where soul and strategy, are certain, they're working together well. And I'm excited about being able to offer that to people. Yeah. And to do myself, it's fun. It's fun.
Right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into your journey. So let us know how, like you said, you had a teaching background, but how did you know, like, what was the shift that happened as you started the journey into actual energy work? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, well, I was so I quit my teaching career when I was pregnant with my son. So that was in 2017. I was at a very, like, it was very much like an awakening moment. I was just like, I can't teach anymore with my kid in my life. Like, it just didn't feel right. And then I knew that I wanted to go on my own. I had known that for a long time, that I wanted to go on my own. I didn't really know what it was going to look like, but coaching was out there, right? Like, that was the only thing that it felt accessible. So I did a coaching training, and through all my exploration and having been coached myself and having taught, like, even when I was a teacher, I was learning a lot about mindfulness and mindfulness in teaching and, yoga. And I was just doing my own work. It all boiled down to self-trust. Like, in the end, like, if you don't have self-trust, life is going to be hard. And what I found out was, how do you get self-trust? You need to have a good relationship with your intuition, right? How do you have a good relationship with your intuition? Well, you have to understand what feels good to you, to your soul, how do you feel good? How do you figure that out? You got to feel the energy, the vibe. So the word energy was popping up a lot in my natural work, in my natural inclinations as I was becoming a coach in my own. And then finally one day I was like, if I'm talking about energy so much, I guess I need to figure out this energy work. What is this energy work? What does this mean? And, we have a mutual friend, Jackie Lambert, bless her soul. She passed away recently, but she, I'm not going to tear up. It's hard to say her name. Okay. But we started our that's how we met. She was my partner, my coaching buddy, like my accountability buddy. And she kept talking about energy work. And I was like, okay, Reiki, whatever, and so finally everything clicked. I had been talking about energy, so I finally one day in the Woo Collective, which I learned about through April Monique, I was like, what energy work should I learn? Like, I'm curious about energy work. And immediately it was like DNA activation. I was like, okay, sure.
You went for the big guns.
Like, I mean, big guns, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody in the group has experienced DNA activation with Athena.
Yeah, that was part of the course. Yep.
Right. So my entry into energy work was this incredibly multifaceted modality. So I had to wrap my head around all these new, like, channeling, so I got chills now, because I know that was not a coincidence. I mean, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was like coming home. Like, it was just, and now, it's 2022. So, 3 years, whatever. And it's I feel so at peace and balanced in that work, so that's how, that's my story. And since then I've just like rabbit holes, Akashic, studied Akashic Records pretty much right away. And Jackie helped me with that too. And a teacher, Carla Grundison. And just, I learned Kundalini Reiki with you. And I just like, okay, gotta learn it all, because I started to see, like, okay, energy work, the world of energy work, there are different languages to it, right? Yeah. Reiki, Akashic Records. And I'm starting to, like, just on the periphery learn about shamanism, and just really, as like, I'm totally mercurial. I'm a Virgo sun, Mercury retrograde, anyway, all this stuff. And I just love language in relation and trying to see how what are the connections between all these modalities? And it's been amazing. Yeah.
It's like you're finding that thread, you're finding the golden thread of all of it. And it, like, always leads back to that absolute, that oneness, but it's such a beautiful journey, and it can be crazy sometimes too. So let's go into maybe some of the obstacles that you've encountered in this journey, because with this course, we're working through our obstacles. Like, where are we, the self, the limiting trust, or the self-doubt, or not being able to use our voices, like, what have been some of your struggles along that journey?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not been easy, for sure. I guess one thing about being, when you awaken to a certain degree, like which energy work helps you do is you can't unsee what what you've seen. Like you're like, I'm a soul, like I can see this, but I'm a soul in a human body. And what happens, I think that once you get to a certain point, your learning accelerates. Therefore, that means you meet more shadows. I don't know. I can't quantify, but I've had to meet, I finally faced my body image issues head on. I was like, I'm done. I can't handle feeling all this shame around my body or my weight or like, and so I went, dove right into that. Also very just subtle things like, one thing I'm a proponent of is like, again, as I said, like, don't do anything that doesn't feel good, right? Like, especially when it comes to social media visibility or visibility. That's what I was really focusing on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But even in that, I'm running a business. And sometimes I struggle with like, pushing myself to boundaries where I don't, like, I logically know that I shouldn't be pushing myself, but and I feel it too, but I don't let myself, I still push myself. So that has been a real boundary for me these days, is like understanding the subtlety of what feels good, what's soul aligned and what's not soul aligned.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be, and I know for sure that is going to be, that's my life's mission, is to navigate that balance of what's soul aligned and what's not soul aligned, and being able to say no to what's not soul aligned and yes to what is, and like playing with that subtlety. I recently had to decline a job, which was really hard. Because it was like out of the blue, my old director from that job that I quit to follow my soul aligned path, out of the blue 2 weeks ago, contacted me and asked me if I wanted it again. And I mean, this is a high paying job, consistent security. And I was in a low place and I was like, oh man, what is the universe telling me here? Am I supposed to take it? But I knew I had done enough work. I knew that the universe was not showing me this because this was the job. It was just saying, hey, you were worried, we got your back.
Yeah. It's
and
still your choice. You still have free will. So what path do you choose?
Yeah. And I said no. And the no felt good. So, yeah. So
I absolutely do know, because I'm going kind of through the same thing. Well,
okay.
Most of the people who watch these or are in the group know that I'm going through separation and newly single parent, and business, struggles have been happening. I think a lot of people are just really struggling at this time. And I had to do the same thing. I'm like, okay, I have bills to pay now. I have extra bills to pay now. Like, how is this all going to happen? And I really had to lean in. And I did get a part-time job, just 1 or 2 days a week at a restaurant, just to kind of get out of the house. But now as I tune into it, I'm like, it's not aligned. And it's like, I needed it in that moment. And so now I'm feeling that, like, okay, can I trust myself and enough that I can just say no more? And so that's kind of where I'm at. And so I feel it, like, and I have to tune in. And I think that everybody, when we are faced with those choices, it is just about taking a moment and breathing into our bodies and just literally asking ourselves, does this feel aligned with my soul? Is this something that is really truly serving me at the highest level? And wait and see. Like, sometimes, like, if it's a no for me, my stomach gets all kind of crampy. Right.
Yes.
And usually if it's a yes, it's like this huge, like, my heart just wants to open.
Yeah.
And so we all have those kind of cues. And have you been able to kind of sense what those cues are for you?
Yeah. And I think this is the so I knew immediately when I got it, I felt nauseous. And I knew that was not a good sign. That was not a good sign. And I continued feeling like just this heightened anxiety and like, and at first it was a little exciting. Oh, wow, she wants me. She, like, wow, like felt really good. But then, when I kept imagining myself in the same place, like, because it was exactly, I was like, it just like so constricted in my chest. For me, it shows up in my chest. But yeah, I've been, one of us more of the work, as I said, the body image, and I've been working also with a nutritionist and things like that to just get more awareness about my body.
Mhm.
And that's so important. I mean, the word embodiment, I feel like gets thrown around. I mean, every word gets thrown around. But the truth is, like, when you can really like listen to your body as a strategy for understanding your soul, it's such a relief.
Mhm.
It opens you up to synchronicities, to magic, like to all the things. I mean, and I'm not saying, like, when I hear you saying that, you took a part-time job, it doesn't feel aligned, like,
Mhm.
this is the path of the new, like, I don't know how to determine, it's just coming to me right now, but the new mystic. I mean, we have to walk this very interesting line of like staying in integrity and soul alignment, and also maintaining our human bodies and our family, like, and our extensions of our families, right? Like, and it's not something we've had examples of.
Mhm.
We've not been given those examples. We're like such trailblazers, and that can feel so lonely and scary, and like, of course we're going to take the jobs, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
um but it's like, but we know deep down that it's not the thing. And how
Yeah.
do you, it's just really, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
And we totally are. We're walking in between worlds. That's how I always think of vision, like the priestess path or the mystic path.
Yes,
And
yes.
like 1,000 years ago or 500 years ago, most of the mystics would go and train for years and years with a
Sounds
guru.
so good to me.
And we can't do that. We're moms, and we have families, and we have responsibilities, and so we literally are. I always see us like I see myself walking in between, like
Yeah.
the 3D world over here and then beyond over here. And so it's like that constant balance of weaving. And every time I take a step, when I see myself in that path, it's literally this weaving that we're doing. And it is,
Yeah.
we are, holding that torch, holding that light for others to follow. And there's so much that is falling around us. There's so much that's crumbling. Like, we're seeing it, we're seeing and we're feeling it. And I think that's too, I think really from last year, Lionsgate, like
Yeah.
collectively our heart chakras have exploded. And so people are now feeling so much more of the energies. And if
Right.
you're not consciously paying attention to your body, then it can throw you off. It can totally throw you off to a tailspin. So that's why I think it's so important for, I call it like energy mastery. Do we ever fully master our energy? I don't know, but I don't
Yeah.
quite know another word to use for that. But it's like
Yeah.
really, once we start to tune into our body and really get aligned, then we can start to flow without that extra resistance. And that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that we're never going to have resistance, because our shadows come up, stuff comes up, and it's just how are we going to weave it? How are we going to allow ourselves to explore it? And how are we going to move forward?
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of goes into our next question about, um, the Akashic Records. And so, like I was saying with the collective, and there's a lot of people that are kind of spinning out right now, and there's actually a lot of fear programming that's occurring. And I just experienced it with one of those apps. There was an app or something that
Mm-hmm.
um, was going around that saying it was fraud and all this stuff. Well, of course, I downloaded the app.
Oh, okay.
So I could feel the collective fear, and that
Yeah.
like tapped in. And for me, like, I have now realized that when it's the collective field, it feels like a grid system that's coming on to me. And so I'm
Okay.
kind of at a space now where I can acknowledge it for what it is, and I can sit with it for a moment, and then start to just breathe and release it. I work through my heart field, work through my heart
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
help that. And then if it's something that's really deep, then I will access the records, right? I will go into my records and kind of go, okay, what is this? So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about all the good stuff with Akashic Records and how it can help people, especially right now with all the fear and all the programming that's occurring, and the karmic patterns too.
Yeah. Wow, I love the Akashic Records. I mean, I was telling Athena right before, I was telling Athena right before, how a lot of people have been coming to me, and some not even coming to me. Okay. I identify that a lot of when I go into the Akashic Records, what I do in my modality is to look at where there are cords attached between between the soul that I'm working with and another entity, person, energy source, whatever. And a lot of the work I'm doing recently is clearing those cords from that person, and the matrix is what I call it. I mean, we've heard this, but it's like basically the entity or the entity force, the overarching force that wants to maintain us in this fear-based system, right? And in the normal, natural, in our world, it's called patriarchy, white supremacy, all those things, those systems of oppression, all the things. But in general, it's just this fear force, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but those disconnections, I have to do it for myself too. I have recently been really, because especially with the eclipses that have come up, this is eclipses, the eclipse in Scorpio that just passed. Wild. And I really appreciate that you say, that you can feel the difference between the collective fear and your own fear. And because I have been like and it just still feels there. I still feel the collective fear right now, like how palpable it is right now. It's almost like everybody's like gripped, you can feel it. And it's like, so I've been going a lot into my own Akashic Records to just look at where are all those cords, where are they? And I recently cut a lot away regarding my solar plexus cord was attached to the matrix, and my root chakra cord, and this relationship between action and safety, and believing that we have to take action in order to be safe, which creates this real loop of manipulation, which I feel is, this is one thing I feel the matrix is this manipulation into believing you should do certain things in order to be safe. That's the first hint. And like, we are deeply in that right now, deeply. Yeah. So that's kind of I'm not fear mongering, but the Akashic Records, because we have access to this level of understanding, everybody has access to that, to this level of understanding, this level of knowledge, this ability to disconnect. We can energetically disconnect from this force, and you can be sovereign.
That's exactly it. And I know, like, some people who watch this, whether it be on Facebook or on my YouTube channel, they might not completely know what sovereignty is. And basically what that is you owning your power and also taking responsibility for our actions, understanding that we can both be the victim and the perpetrator, understanding that we have created karma and we have also experienced karma done to us. So all of it is really about this honest responsibility and reclaiming who we truly are, not from a fear-based space, but from the absolute, from that true source power, from our divinity, right? And I think it's just so important, because I know both of us are here to awaken. We're here to awaken other people. Like, for me, it's always, the words I always get is awaken, seed, and reclaim. Like those are,
Mm.
that's part of my mission, right? To help
Mhm.
others do that as well. And when we do this work, we're also learning it for ourselves. And so
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
love that you talked about those chords, because that's not something that I um have ever done, but now I'm really curious. Now I'm really curious to see what that's like, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that's
It
very,
came out of the DNA activation level 2 DNA activation work. And it was, when I was doing it for level 2, I was starting. So it was born from that. And I
yeah,
was, for whatever reason, the way I had learned Akashic Records, breaking contracts and so on, was not sticking for me, not feeling good. And so I was like, this is what I'm doing.
I
And
love it.
it's been good. It's been profound and helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
think the more like tools that we can share with people right now is helpful. But I also know that there's like this, it's almost like there's a confusion that's happening because there's so much out there. There's so much
Yeah.
available at our fingertips. And so having someone like you who is trained, who has been doing the self work, who is an embodiment of your work, who is exploring it, and who has a true open heart to help people and be of higher service, I think that is so important. Like we
Yeah.
need the guides, we need those way showers, we need those people who are, carrying that torch,
Yeah.
until others can find their own torch, right? It's not like, yes, we're guides and things like that, but also it's like we're trying to lift all of humanity, right? And
Yes. Yeah.
we do that through our own work. We do that through ourselves. We do that through our practice. We do that through just our own healing and our own existence. The more
Yeah.
that we do our healing work, our presence just shifts the room. We don't
Yeah.
have to go, like sometimes our intuition will just be like, you need to go this direction today. And you do it and you realize that as you do, it's like all the flowers are blooming behind you. It's like
Yeah.
what happens the more that we become the embodiment. So I think it's really
Yeah.
important for those people that, have been struggling to reach out to someone. And of course, like you don't always have to reach out to the first person that says something, but tune into your own body. Like there are a lot of people out there who are claiming and proclaiming all sorts of things. And so always using your internal system, using that guidance system, using your intuition, using your body, right? Your own
Yeah.
wisdom to decipher who to go to, who to follow, who to, because there's a lot that's being out there. And I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
bringing it up. I just feel
No,
like I
but
need
it's
someone.
I'm feeling it. I'm gonna jump in there because I think there for people who are awakening, who have, as you said, the Lion's Gate, heart open, but I don't have the tools. So it's like, holy, I'm overwhelmed by like, I have a lot of compassion, but that compassion is, I'm feeling like compassion fatigue and like, just not even that, but like I'm overwhelmed with emotions, right? And just got chills. um, then, and so we're looking to people for guidance. And then what can happen is that we look to people who, and I, again, like it just has the language here is limiting, but we might turn to somebody who, claims they're a healer. Maybe they believe they're a healer, maybe, all whatever, but they're also tapped into the fear somehow, right? They're denying the fact that you have free will. I think that this is one of the things, the big important things, as I learned to become a healer and an energy worker, was that anybody who works with me has free will. I cannot predict your future. I cannot determine your future. And I think that's a big hint as to, we say, of course, follow your body, but also like listen to who, what are they saying? Are they being deterministic, fatalistic? Because you have free will, you can make your own choices. Your future is not determined. And I feel a lot of the mystics who feed into the matrix give like, fear-based channeling, or, you should do this, you need to do this, or like that kind of language,
Yeah.
so to be aware of the language is also helpful.
and the more that we do our own energy practices, the more that we do our own work, we are able to move from like a neutral space, and we can use discernment.
Yes.
Right? We can use discernment to who we allow in our field. Who are we willing to work with? Who, what is it? What are the techniques? What are the energy modalities? Because there might be some that aren't right for you, and so being able to really use that energy and to tune in. My dog's barking. I hope you can't hear that.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
And really being able to use that energy to discern.
Yeah.
What is my yes? What is my no?
Yep. That's
at this time.
Right. That's the most important thing when you can do that. Yeah. To just to understand your energy and yeah, like, one person might work for somebody, your friend might work well with this person and you're like, don't, and it's nothing wrong. Like, it's not working. It's not for you. Something I've been contemplating is, we all have our unique energy signature for everything. I've been contemplating a unique energy signature for wealth, a unique energy signature for learning. We all have, so you get to know what's your unique energy signature, and you'll be directed, to where you need to go, and sometimes you'll be directed to a shitty place because you need to. Yes, exactly. But you gotta, and that's another wisdom to be able to see it as a learning opportunity. I think that has been huge for me, to be able to see, like, to decouple, or the idea that, like, because in the past I would have been like, oh, I made that mistake, I'm such an idiot, da 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 da. And now I'm like, okay, I made that mistake or whatever, that move, which didn't feel great, because I needed to learn that there was a gap in my energetic signature that I was not addressing. Are you there, Athena?
I am. I had to let my dog out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's okay.
I just wanted to mute myself because he was barking.
Oh, okay. But I don't see your video.
I took it off.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. I'm just getting settled back.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that too, about, understanding that signature. And it's just like, for me, I am really, really good about, like, soul contracts and, like, past life. Like, I can zoom into people's past lives like nobody's business. And
Okay.
you're working with chords. You're clearing chords. Like, that's not something that I am doing, and that's not something that I'm super, like, not attracted to, but that's not my soul signature. Right?
Yes.
My
Right.
signature is karmic clearing. Like, that's what I'm doing. And funny, I just realized that in my gene keys, I carry that key. I can't remember where it is, but it's the one of the karmic clearing. I'd have to look it up again, but that's part of my soul work, is karmic clearing. And
oh my God, so cool.
Yeah, so I do that for myself, and I also do it for a collective. But that's also, like, I draw a lot of weird situations into my life.
Okay. Yeah. That's part of the clearing.
Yeah, that's part of the clearing. So that can be, but it's really, bringing that awareness to what's our unique gift. And I love that you said it like that. It's just follow that. And sometimes there's learning opportunities and bumps in the road, but you'll realize through that wasn't my path.
And that's what, and you know what, I gotta say, I had a major bump last year, and you talk about, like you earlier said, like, we have to embrace the fact that we have been victims and we have been perpetrators. I'm not sure what word you used, but I was grappling with, like, I've been a perpetrator, like I have inflicted harm, and like, those are the hardest for me. I mean, I've been raised Nova Scotia, white woman, like, I'm a good girl. I got to be a good girl, right? Like, and to know that I'm not a good girl, or to have it reflected so harshly against, to me, it's so hard. But that happened last year. But through that, man, the magic that came, the people I met, holy shit, like could not have like my astrology teacher came into my life. And now we have this very interesting, which was all connected to Hermetic philosophy, which I was geeking out on. And it's just like she was the teacher I was supposed to meet, and I could not have met her. I mean, maybe I could have, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
met her because I faced that shadow. Oh, I got chills again. But like, so
I can totally relate, because the same thing last year, about this time last year. It was this time last year. I had a huge thing that happened too, where it was this, I chose to say no. I chose to say no. And it was like this weird entanglement that had happened. And through that, you know, friendships were lost and things were broken. But I also decided that that wasn't the route. I didn't want to lean into the more of the fear matrix. I wanted to lean into more of my earth magic. And so I met my friend who's a shaman, and I did the Moon Key rites. And so I did like this whole 6-month journey with shamanic medicine, and it literally transformed my life. And I'm like, it still hurt. It was still painful. There were still things that I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Or did I do the wrong choice? But when I tuned into my body, you know, I knew in that moment I had to say no. I couldn't stay in that entanglement any longer. It wasn't right for me. And so there's this huge breaking that happened. And I used my Akashic Records to clear.
same.
Yep, I used my Akashic Records to find out a little bit more information about the situation. But yeah, it led me to so much soul growth and what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do, and how I want to show up in the world. And
Yeah.
so it was hard. You know, it sounds like your experience was the same thing, but it led you to so much growth.
So much growth. And I'm super curious now. This is what I'm exploring, because I'm a kind of time geek. Like, one of the ways I manage my energy is like, you know, based on the cycles of the moon, cycles of the stars, cycles of the, you know, the seasons, all that. And it's very interesting that you said that around the same time, because I think was the eclipse season. I got to track that, but I feel like I need to put on my calendar eclipse season, stop what you're doing, because I think it was this same, a lot of people, I'm like, what were you doing last year at this time? What broke away from your life? A lot of people tell me they had a lot of relationships break up, a lot. So, geez. So, and in this eclipse season, I've felt something similar. I've had to deal with something similar. Like we are being asked to stop fucking around. Sorry.
Yeah,
like
bring it.
The universe is like, look, we need to clean this shit up. You guys need to clean up your personal stuff. You need to be very clear. It's not going to be fun, but you know, you have the power, you have the energy, you have the source, you have the Akashic Records, you have the tools, you know, you have each other. So like you're going to deal with this right now, so that so that we can get to the real work.
And it's coming. I have so many goosebumps. Like I can't fully see it, but what I have been shown, like there is some real work. And it's gonna come fast, and it's gonna come hard. And yeah, I feel that we've all been going through so much. And yeah, this eclipse season, and it was eclipse season last May that my transformation happened. My karmic, you know, entanglement, I chose to disentangle.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy. It's like, I'm doing it, because you have to go through all your human emotions.
Oh, the human emotions. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so yeah. We have these patterns that play out in our life, and we have these relationships that play out. And I feel like this last eclipse with the Scorpio energy is really about what is still in the depths. What is that shadow? And for me, it's the fear as well, like that underlying fear. And how can we look at it, and how can we kind of embrace it? And so I'm an oracle, so I see a lot, and my dreams have been picking up, and I get into meditation and I will see things, entities, energies, whatever. But what I really realized is, for me, they're all aspects of me, right? It's all an aspect. It's just like when we see a human relationship, they're a mirror. when we are in those spaces and places, sometimes they're acting as that mirror for us again. So where is it within you that you're still holding on to that? And so something that I've been doing is, and I think this just takes practice, and this takes a little bit of courage, because when you see something like a dark figure with red eyes, or some strange red-haired freaky monster, like, I don't know, I see all sorts of weird things. And I don't attach to that thing. But what I do is I say, what are you here to show me? And then I instantly go to my heart and I expand my field, and I just breathe into my heart field. And from that, I'm able to clear. And so I think that comes with practice. And I think that comes with, like, I think it just comes with time and doing the work. And so I really hope that people who do encounter some of those scary aspects of themselves, or the fear, you know, because that is really happening, and there really are other entities out there that are self-serving, and there are some things out there that are dark, that are, you know, trying to control us and manipulate us. That is real. But also, like, we are sovereign, and so when we can unplug by going into our heart, and our breath is literally brings us to our divine source. Like, it is the lung meridian is literally our connection to source. And so when we can breathe, and think of everything that's happened since the last 2 years with breathing, cutting off the breath, cutting off our connection.
It's mind-blowing when you,
So it's all about coming back to our breath, coming back to our sovereignty. It's coming back to the tools that we know that can help us clear it. So that's just something that's happened to me that I just feel like people need to hear. I don't know why. It's like, it's as simple as, I shouldn't say simple. It's not. It still freaked me out. Seeing that in my dream, or having that energy in my meditation, freaked me out a little bit, but I was able to clear it. So I don't know. Go ahead.
I think you're picking up on me. It's very interesting. So this actually just this morning, because I've been waking up with this anxiety. So you're talking about it in the form of an entity that you visually see. Is that correct?
And that's how I do my work. I see most of the things outside of me, but it's all me.
So for me, I'm more like claircognizant. So I know things. I don't really see things, and I feel things. And I mean, we all have it all, but like for me, like, so, but because I've been in, because my body has been feeling this fear, and I've been waking up with anxiety and having these questions. What did I do wrong? When I have that as my first thought, it's not good. It's not good. And I know that something needs to change, right? And this morning I thought, okay, so you're talking about breath. So I was like, okay, let's look at where is this anxiety? I have the thought, I have the anxiety now. Where is it in my body, right? Tracking it in my body. And for today, for the first time since I've been having that anxiety every morning, I was able to detach. I was like, my body is feeling anxiety. I am not feeling it. Josette, the soul, is not having anxiety. Yeah, I am not, like, so I was able to, so that detachment was, and I know this, I've studied mindfulness and meditation, but it's one thing. So I think breath work, as you said, and then just like, where is it in the body? And then like naming it, my body is feeling this. It's been profound. It just happened this morning.
And that's the whole, like, curious observer, right? That's
curious observer. Exactly.
That's being able to step out and understand that, yeah, we're feeling it, but you don't have to be attached to it. So I love that. Like, how powerful.
And for the first time in a few weeks, I've been able to feel powerful again, because I definitely felt like I lost my sense of sovereignty. We will go through that. All energy workers, as solid as we are, like, we will lose that. And but we have the eyes to see. we have the eyes to see. The messages will come through of how to get back to it. And so grateful because now I'm able to, I'm like, okay, like I'm feeling this kind of like this warrior spirit that I lost. Cause I'm a core, like my core, like I know Athena, she's done starseed readings for me before, but like my starseed ancestors, I know are like a valiant, full of valor. Yeah.
I can like
And
see them around you.
you see them? Yeah.
You
Oh,
got
that's so
two
cool.
on each side.
Oh, oh my God, you're gonna make me cry.
They have like a spear of some sort. They have a spear. They have
Oh my God.
Mhm.
Magic. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this kind of valiant energy. And I know that my soul story and this feeling that this anxiety I've felt is an old story connected to them. But I had lost that valiant spirit in the last eclipse season. I lost it. It was gone, man. And today was the first glimpse of like, oh, okay, there I am again. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, and not to beat ourselves up in those moments, because we are still learning and we are still having a human experience, and we learn from all of it. So that little click, that little shift that you made today, look at you're proud of yourself. You are feeling like you got that fire back, and then that's going to carry you forward for the next step, for the next
yeah,
phase in your
yeah,
life. So
yeah,
because we all go through it. You know, I go through it too. There was a period of life that literally I was manifesting all the shitastic stuff, like car broke down, like, you know, everything was falling apart. My sewer pipes broke, like all within like a 6-week period of time. I was like, oh my God.
wow,
It
okay,
was, I was learning, and I was also in this period of healing, and I was avoiding some of the feelings that I needed to feel. And so
yeah,
all of them started to trigger because I wasn't really at a space where I could look at it all. And that's okay too. That's
yeah,
okay too. Wherever we
yeah,
are in our journey, it is okay. It's just the acknowledgement of it, and knowing that as we go through the shadows, there's always going to be that clarity. It might come in a couple hours, it might come with a couple breaths, it might be 6 months down the road, but the clarity really will come. And to continue to build that self-trust,
yeah,
continue to trust and lean into spirit, lean into, you know, whatever guides or ancestors or starseed lineage, whatever it is that you connect with, like
yeah,
continue to lean into that as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Always remember, and like if you need to put notes up on your wall, like for you, because you forget in those moments that you have like these guides and you have these resources. You can go to your Akashic records. You can ask your archangels and whoever for support. Give me something, like give me something in a sign that I, what am I supposed to do? Like,
Yeah.
and you can forget. So put a note up on your wall, ask your guides, remind yourself, do whatever you need. Yeah.
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 And something I've been doing that's super simple is I light my incense every morning and I put out a prayer. I put out a
Mm,
prayer, and that's just something that I got into the habit of doing. Like because I meditate every morning. And so
mhm.
I put my little thing and I say a little prayer as I light it, and I kind of whirl the smoke around me, and it takes like a
Mm,
minute ritual. And that helps me to like realign and to remember and to send that prayer out, or that request,
mhm,
or whatever it is, whether it's to help
mhm.
remove obstacles or to help me stay open during difficult times, or just sending love and healing out to all beings, like whatever it is, like that's something that I've definitely added. And I feel weird when I don't do it now.
Yeah, I love it, right? It's like a kind of like, I love the metaphor, the analogy of like, if you don't brush your teeth for a day, you're like, it comes to the same thing. Like if you don't do your practice, it's like you've not brushed your teeth. It becomes a habit. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
A good habit.
I
Mhm.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, we have went through a lot so far, and I'm super excited. So I do have a couple bonus questions for you.
Okay, sure. Woohoo. Okay. Oh my God. All
Okay.
right, go.
So of course this course is called Everyday Divinity. And so the first bonus question is, what does divinity mean to you?
Wow, divinity. Oh, that's a whew. Well, I mean, what does it mean? I mean, all I know is that we are divine, that we have a direct line to divinity, you know, and that there's no way around it. We are not, it's not divinity outside there. We are divinity. And, you know, yeah, we are. And that's part of what's going to bring you back to your soul self, is understanding that we are divinity. So I don't, that's what it means to me. Yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And that's really what it's all about, is bringing it into our everyday life, walking it, being it, living it.
Yeah. And it's so simple. I really want to reiterate this. I think we have this, not reiterate, I don't know if I said it before, but when I was saying that, right, we are divinity. Like, really, like when you go out, when you start looking at the world like that, everything communicates with you. Like the tree, like it's just, you start seeing the natural language of life. It's just, it's hard for me to articulate right now, but like, I saw myself, you know, in a hard time going outside and seeing the right bird at the right moment, you know, like synchronicities, all these things, like that is part of the language that I think we miss. That is divinity, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
You're speaking to my heart right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That. So next one is, so we work with different ascended masters or goddess archetypal energies through this course. So what foods make you feel like a goddess?
What foods?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, like a goddess. That's interesting.
Anything. It doesn't have to be healthy. It can literally be anything.
Well, like a goddess, I was just gonna say wine and chocolate for sure.
Yeah.
Like that's more like, that's like my inner like badass goddess. Like, you know what? This is delicious, like just delightful, right? Like just completely yeah, my inner goddess would not be concerned with weight and diet and not, you know, it's just the pleasure of taste. So yeah, wine and chocolate was just immediate. Strawberries, you know,
Yeah. Yes.
luscious feeling. Yeah.
Berries. Mine's like grapes and blueberries. Like I just, or a
Yeah.
really good cheese tray. A really good cheese tray too.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, exactly. I was like, well, charcuterie there. Let's put some. Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Okay. So I have two more questions. The next
Sure.
one is, are there any specific like goddesses or archetypal energies that you work with?
Well, interestingly enough, I don't work a lot with goddesses. Well, I'll say a few things. I work a lot with I don't know. I have to figure out how to say the name. Thoth,
Yeah. Or Thoth, yeah.
Mercury, and Hermes. So the three of them, mostly Mercury and Thoth. They're my guides, and I know my soul, I've done a lot of my soul has done a lot of work in alchemy and hermetic work, hermetic astrology, hermeticism, all these things. So that for sure. And then Joan of Arc is definitely, in terms of goddesses, she's by my side. She doesn't, she's relentless. She's not going to let me, you know, she kind of reminds me of my soul, my starseed lineage. You know, she's kind of like the one who's in popular culture to remind me of that. But she makes sure I don't ignore her.
Yeah. And yeah, really goosebumps because she's also part of the Order of the Magdalens.
Yes, right, exactly.
Through our DNA activation that we do. So I love that. Oh,
yeah.
I love that. You carry that well.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It feels, she's after my DNA activation, she was popping up everywhere. And she, even before that, she was popping up everywhere. It's like, you know, it's just, we have a long, their story there. Yeah.
And that also is very telling because you're working with the throat and she's all about the voice of truth of, you know, like speaking while everyone was going to think she's crazy, like taking charge and leading at was she 15 or something like that?
Yeah.
Like super young, like
Yeah.
leading this huge revolution. And
Yeah.
so that just makes so much sense with the work that you're doing with the throat and awakening and empowering people. And, you know, even with Toth, like he's a writer, he's a scribe, he
Yeah.
works with the language. And so that's so beautiful. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love how it's like weaving together for you. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's exciting. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been working with him a lot lately too. Like I've had
Okay.
a couple experiences. It's been a while, but he showed me some ancient stuff and I was like, and then he just pops in every now and then. But I think he wants me to grab pen and paper and start writing more.
Yeah.
It's just about doing it.
Oh yeah. 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 Oh, that's cool. Well, you write. Geez, you write a lot. You have two books, two chapter. Oh, what is it? Two
Yeah,
books that.
I'm into two multi-author books, yeah. And then I write, I journal and stuff, but it's something deeper. It's something more. It's just not
Okay.
quite ready to be birthed yet, but it's
Okay.
there. It's
Yeah.
like it's cultivating.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
He'll do it
my
for you.
last question to ask is, what piece of advice would you give the people of the world today?
It's always like, I mean, if you can do anything in your life, is just please get in tune with your intuition. And I mean, really, like, your intuition is the language you're missing. Like, is the communication piece that you are just not real, that you have, we all have it. And it is, yeah, that's really, look into your intuition, like not lightly. It's not a gut feeling. You're able to communicate with way more than you think you can. Like, it's mind blowing. I mean, if everybody could, I'm just like, what would, I mean, I know that's what we're doing. That's our mission. That's what we're going to ultimately, you were doing. It's like, that's the key. Is like, if you can understand your intuition, oh my God, the world would change so much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 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 That's my
Well,
myth.
I love this talk and I want to like talk forever. I feel like I can talk even longer. But let's just go with what are you working on? How can people contact you? Maybe what are some of the offers that you do currently? Go ahead and put in your plugs here.
Sure. Yeah. So you can find me, my website is my name. So Josette LeBlanc. So hopefully that's written somewhere. So josetteleblanc.com. And you can find me on Instagram. And anyone who's connected to Athena can find me on Facebook. I am not much on Facebook. I'm not much online right now, but I'm usually quite prolific. But these days I'm taking a break. But what I'm working on, so I do, DNA activation, both level 1 and level 2. And I call my Akashic record work, I call it toxicity severing. That's toxicity severing, because that's what I'm like, I'm here to help you cut toxic cords. It's the name that came up. So those are the two that I'm doing, that the two services that I'm offering right now. I do have longer term, you're able to work with me if you're somebody who, you want to do the energy work, but also you want to put things into play, into practice. You want to maybe you want to put your services out there. You don't know how to do that. Maybe you have a program that you want to design, but you don't know how to teach it. Yeah. You don't know how to design the curriculum. Like that's my old life coming into this new life. I love supporting energy workers, healers in just making their work accessible and definable. And yeah, you can tap into me for that. So that's something that I'm still working on packages, but if you're interested in that, we can make something happen.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know that I reached out to you to help me with my email marketing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was, and I'll make sure to put all the links and everything in the description below the video. So make sure you guys reach out to her. She's amazing. and I honor you so much. And I'm so glad that we got to talk.
Oh my God,
And
I chills again. Yeah, so good.
soul sisters, we can't help it.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
we just pick up where we leave off.
I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much, Athena. This has just given me a breath of fresh air today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye.